Now joining us on the line is the two weight division world champion Danny Garcia, who this Saturday night takes on Erislandy Lara for the WBA middleweight championship as part of the Canelo Edgar Berlanga card in Las Vegas. Danny, what's happening?
I'm doing great. Just a week away. All the hard work is done now. We're just staying focused and ready to get this victory.
Tell us about this fight. I know this is a fight that's been a couple years in the making. It was on, it was off, it was on again. Tell us your mindset now that it's finally here.
I knew that one day it would happen. I knew them 2 years that went past. I said, I told Angel, I said, don't worry about it. By the time you know it, we're gonna be in the ring. And look, it's a week away. We had a hard training camp, great sparring, great work, 7 weeks of hard work, and the fight's here. There's no looking back now.
When we talked in Philly at your media day, you mentioned something that after all the stops and starts of this fight, you just went on doing your business. Obviously, you got a lot of nice little business ventures, properties, all that. He said that the fight just kind of just left your mind. Did you feel like maybe that what could have been it? I mean, were you kind of maybe I want to say thinking retirement? Maybe you thought you were retired.
Yeah, I mean, I said to myself, I said, look, if I don't fight this year, then most likely I'm never coming back to boxing. Coming off more than the 2.5 year layoff to come back to fight. If I didn't fight this year, it wouldn't make sense for me to come back. So, but I knew I had plans to fight this year, but the fight kept getting pushed back, kept getting pushed back. So I didn't know that, I wasn't for sure, so. But yeah, so that's when I just started doing the promotion. I started doing other things outside the ring to keep my mind busy, but still keep my head in the boxing world. And that's why I was motivated to do those things outside the ring.
Like I said, you actually kind of for a lack of a better term, maybe even called out Lowry. He's a guy that you've been targeting for 2 years. You
Yeah.
must know something or seen something for you to. This is the guy I wanted 160 pounds.
Yeah, for sure. So number one, I knew it would be an easy fight to be made. I understand the politics in boxing. He's a PBC fighter. I'm a PBC fighter. I held the WBA title at 140. I fought for it at 147. So I know WBA wouldn't mind me giving me the opportunity to fight for another middleweight title, for another title. And I definitely saw his fight with Sullivan 2 years back in Brooklyn, and I knew that the fight made sense. And then I looked at somebody I have a chance to beat.
You mentioned that, and when we talk X's and O's kind of thing, earlier in his career, he was your typical Cuban kind of cutie kind of fighter. Last several fights, last several years, he's gotten a little bit older. I'm not going to say he's lost a step, but he seems to want to sit in the pocket a little more. Is that kind of what you see without giving too much away?
Yeah, definitely. He's more of a veteran now, so maybe he feels like he don't have to use his legs as much. As you get older, you kind of learn how to you kind of become like a wizard. Like you can just sit there and make them miss, make them pay type thing. So I think he believes in his experience a lot now too, where he could just stand in the pocket and kind of time you and hit you with that left hand. But we've been working, and like me, I've got a lot of experience too. So it's definitely going to be, interesting matchup.
Is there a scenario? I'm sure you've looked at some film where the left hook, your vaunted left hook, is going to be available for you. You feel it several times during the fight.
Yeah, I definitely been landing the left hook and sparring. I've been hurting some people in sparring. I've been sparring way bigger guys than me too. I mean, guys 185, 190 pounds just to get that weight under me to make sure that I could withstand the bigger guys. So I feel like I did everything necessary for this fight, to be ready for it. So definitely.
What would it mean to you to become a 3 division world champion?
Oh man, like I said before, you put me in it's a different category. 2 is a different category already, but 3 is like, Duran, Mayweather, Oscar, Cotto, all the greats have done 3, so to me that would be everything for my legacy.
I know when we talked in Philly, in fact, I think I may have asked a question about Hall of Fame. You believe you have the resume right now, whether you win, lose, draw, whatever on Saturday night. But you feel, I mean, Saturday night, does that make you a no doubt about it, first ballot, see you in Canastota a few years after I retire kind of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I feel like I'm a Hall of Famer. I feel like I'm giving the fans extra. You know, I'm right now. I'm just trying to be. I'm just trying to be great. I'm just trying to do whatever great fighter at the end of their career. You know, towards the end, go up a weight class, win a world title, and just icing on the cake. But definitely, I feel like I'm up there. There's some other great fighters out there too. You know, come from my era. So, but I know I'm definitely a Hall of Famer.
Being that, and obviously, I'm a Philly
So
guy.
wait, I have a question for. So when you retire, how many years
I
do
believe
you
it went from
qualify?
I think it went from 5 to 3. I
Oh,
think,
so it's 3 years now.
yeah, I think
Oh,
that's
okay,
what it
okay.
is.
So since I've been out the ring for 2 years already, if I would have retired in 1 year, I could have qualified.
Yeah, you might be on the clock next year for all we
Man,
know.
that's crazy.
Obviously, I'm a Philly guy. You're a Philly guy. What would it mean to you with the long history of Philly, with this accomplishment to be? I mean, obviously, you probably are ranked up there in the greats. I haven't like really done my list yet. Well, I
Mhm.
guess we'd have to start mentioning you with the Frazier's, the Hopkins, some of the all-time great Philly fighters. Danny Garcia's name would have to be kind of thrown right in the mix with all that. And what would that mean to you?
Oh, that mean the world, because I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe I'll be the first three division world champion from Philly. So, if you talk about Philly boxing and you talking about Danny Garcia, the only three division, now that's a whole different ballgame.
What do you want to say?
Especially talk about Philadelphia fighters. You know how people take pride in that.
You mentioned real quickly about being a promoter. You've done 2 fights. I believe you have another fight coming up in October. What is that aspect? Obviously, you've been preparing for life after boxing for a long time now, as you mentioned before. You got a lot of business stuff, a lot of properties. I mean, you've become. I mean, we talk about Philly and how much Philly you are. Heck, you named your daughter Philly, but you become Mr. Miami over the last couple of
Yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you gotta enjoy the fruits of your hard labor. I'm a Philly guy, but sometimes the cold gets to me a little bit now.
So
I
talk about
got
the promotional aspect. Is
yeah,
that give you a
yeah,
different like slant on the boxing world, the boxing business, being on the
yes,
other
for
side of it?
for sure. So, just to show people how serious I am, it just wasn't 2 shows and then I'm out of there. I'm doing another show October 12th, and I'm doing all that stuff. Franchise Cruise. Actually, it's gonna be my first world title card. So the championship card by Swift Promotions, Franchise Cruise is gonna be the main event, and it's gonna be a lot of other young stars in there. So I'm doing my first world title fight as a promoter in Philly, female boxing breast cancer awareness month. For a great cause. So just to show people how serious I am, I'm getting ready for a fight, and then I'm ready to promote another fight. So it's a lot, and I'm dedicating my life to boxing.
And something tells me, should you become victorious, I think you may be walking around the 2300 arena that night with maybe a gold belt around your shoulder,
Oh,
maybe
that's
just
for
to
sure.
show
I'm
the
gonna sleep with
fans.
that bad boy, like I did my first one. The first one is special. The other ones was cool. Like I was just used to winning, but to win the third one, after coming off, two like I lost my last couple championship fights. It would just be legendary for me.
Well, what do you want to say to the fans in closing before we let you go? We'll see you Saturday night, September 14th, live on Prime Video pay-per-view. Danny Garcia takes on Erislandy Lara as far as the Canelo Berlanga undercard.
Man, just tune in. September 14th, this Saturday night, it's gonna be a legendary night. I'm chasing greatness, and I'm doing this for the city of Philadelphia, all my Puerto Ricans, all the Latinos around the world. Make sure you tune in. It's gonna be a great night in boxing.
As I've been saying to you for more than a decade, we've been doing, I've interviewed you and your father hundreds of times. Best of luck, and we'll see you along the way. And Philadelphia, I know we'll be watching.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.